Before we continue with our numbers guessing game application, I want to quickly address the cargo.lock file. The reason why we want to keep a consistent version of all dependencies because we want to have a consistent bill. Okay, we will get into that later as we go along. But I just want to give you some more information as to why this file is necessary. You will see this pattern in other computer languages as well. Okay, let's continue with the application. So thus far, we've learned about how to write comments to communicate with other software engineers and really to ourselves as well. And we also learned about the use keyword on how we import. Um, we talked about the main thread of execution a couple of tutorials ago. So thus far in our main entry point, we've welcomed the end user with a message with this print line statement here. So the object of this game is to have the end user guess the secret number between 1 to 5, right? So therefore, let's generate a random number between 1 to 5. Now, we can either write the code to randomly generate numbers, or like we did in the first tutorial when we imported the Ferris crate. Rust has a crate called random number generator, or shortened to RAND, RAND. Here is the documentation for that external module. So how do we import external crates? Do you all remember? That's correct. We go to the cargo.toml file under dependency, and we want the RAN, or random number generator crate. But let's say I don't know what version is currently on. Okay, if I just type double quotes and save it, it'll tell you the latest version is 0.7.3. And I get a thumbs up. Okay, so that was relatively easy, right? Relatively painless. So if we go back to the main.rs file, we can import it using the use keyword and then ran, because that's the name of the crate, and then the random number generator trait. Okay, that's trait spelled like that. Now, without giving you a long academic definition of what a trait is, we can just sort of imagine that a trait is a dependency within this random package. Okay, it is a so like a package that's inside of this random crate that we can call upon to generate random number. Okay. Now, why are we importing an external package instead of writing our own? Well, because these crates have already done most of the work for us, and it's been tested and vetted for us, right? So we don't have to waste time reinventing the wheel every time. It's sort of like in civil engineering. Okay, if they wanted to move dirt at a construction site, they don't invent a bulldozer to move dirt, right? They can just rent one or buy one to move the dirt. So it's the same concept in software engineering. Okay, so the object of this game, like I said, is to generate a secret random number between 1 to 5. So let's go ahead and create that secret number. So I will create a variable to store that. Okay, so how do we create a variable in Rust? That's correct. We use the let keyword. It's giving me this hint here. So what I want is I want the thread RNG. That's autocomplete for me. Just a quick snippet of code for me for speed. And then this method is used to generate the range between the low number and the high number, as you can see in the method signature here, okay, in the documentation. Again, you just hover over it, I'll give you documentation. So I want a range between 1 and 5. Now, as you can see here, I have this underscore between secret and number. That is because if I were to write this, say, let secret number, the compiler will see that space there and think that, oh, that's actually two variables there. Okay, so therefore, in computer science, we have a term called casing. Now, in the Rust community, this is referred to as snake casing. Okay. There's also another convention called camel casing, where it looks like that. Sometimes people refer to camel casing as Pascal casing, which is actually this here. So why do we even have casing to begin with? As you can see, that like I said earlier, if you have a space there, the compiler will recognize that space, all right, and see it as two variables. So we have to make it human readable. So we add some sort of mechanism for easy pattern recognition. Okay. All right. So we reserve space in memory for the secret number. So what I would like to do is I want to see if what the secret number is, just for development purposes, to log out the secret number in the console so that we can see what it is between 1 to 5, just to make sure that everything is working. This is a very familiar pattern in software engineering. For example, you were doing web application, you would log out, you would use the, for example, Chrome Developer Console in the Chrome browser to log out data in the console. Using the print line macro again. Okay, so these curly braces here represents a placeholder for this variable value. Okay, so this tells the compiler that, hey, at the end of this string, I want you to render the value of what's inside the secret number variable. This placeholder concept is available in other languages as well. So one thing we can do as software engineer is to make it easy on us to read code and to other people to read code by grouping similar statements, like for example this print line statement together. Here you notice I put a line break between the variable and the print statement. That's so that our brain can recognize the pattern quickly. I put this special keyword here called MUT or moot. So all variables in Rust, like I said before, are immutable unless you want it to be immutable, in which case you will add this MUT keyword or the moot keyword here to make it a um, mutable variable. So up top here, I've imported the input output stream from the standard library. Now I'm going to use it to read the input from the end user. So I want to say IO, and I want the standard in method, which is this guy here. And I could easily continue writing code here, but I'm going to jump to the next line to make it easier to read, right? To make it easy for the brain to recognize patterns. Now I press tab there as soon as I got the autocomplete suggestion. Here, let me do this again. Read. As soon as I got the autocomplete suggestion, you can either click on it or tab, and it'll autocomplete for you, at least in VS Code. Again, VS Code is completely free. Okay, so let's start here. So as you can see here, the IDE added this I32 to the variable. This is metadata that is added to the variable to indicate the declarative data type or the duck typing, even though I did not explicitly declare secret number as a 32-bit integer, I32. The IDE recognized, the compiler recognized that, hey, this is going to be implicitly a number type, okay? So it's just assumed that it's a number. That's referred to as duck typing, D-U-C-K. This here is not the compiler, this gray out I32, that's from the IDE helping me out by giving me metadata about the data type of this variable. And then here I am explicitly declaring guess as a string type. Okay. Again, this is just metadata that's given to me by the IDE. So it's this here. So it's this here. So it's this here. Okay. Okay. So we are reading what the end user will type in the console, and then we are using this reserve guess, mutable guess here to store that. You notice here, because guess is a mutable reference, to use a mutable reference, to use a mutable variable, I have to use this mutable reference here with the N and the MUT. I have to use this symbology here whenever I use a mutable reference. Okay? And then the expect statement is basic error handling that's built into the Rust language, and we'll get into that as we go along. So now I want to do one more print line statement to tell the end user what they type or what their guess was. Again, this is just a placeholder for my data, a placeholder within a string for my data. Okay, so at this point, we are ready to go to the console to compile to see what we have. So in my root directory, I am going to run cargo run. It's asking me to select a number from 1 to 5. I do, let's say 3. And it's telling me that, uh, it's telling me what I guessed there. Okay, so let's look at the code. Let me split the screen here. Okay, so this is our welcome message. You can see here, welcome message here. And then it's telling us that the secret number that we declare up here is this value here. So this placeholder, see that placeholder? It's number 4. And then this static text content is here. And then when we, this is where we enter the end user will enter the number, and then it says you guess, and then the number they entered is on line 20 here. Okay, that's it for now. In the next tutorial, we are going to do an ordering range, and then we are going to look at loops. See you next time. Bye for now.